A few winters ago, I found myself at a crossroads. My divorce had been finalized 6 months earlier, and to say I needed a reset would be an understatement. Christina, my girlfriend at the time, suggested we take a trip somewhere peaceful away from the chaos that had consumed my life. We found a secluded rental on a lake in upstate New York, a modern yet cozy house surrounded by dense woods. Aside from a handful of empty properties along the shoreline, it was just us. It was exactly what I needed. A place far removed from civilization. The host would not be there, but he left detailed instructions for the keys and other essential standard Airbnb stuff. But when we arrived that morning, an unexpected sight greeted us. A small package sat on the front steps waiting. No return address, just a handwritten note. "Enjoy your stay. Make sure to stay warm." It was a little odd, but the package contained only a small box of matches. Maybe it was a quirky welcome gift. Christina laughed, making a joke about the strange hospitality of upstate folks. We shrugged it off. For 2 days, everything was perfect. Snow-covered trails, quiet hikes, warm drinks by the fire. The snowfall had been steady, giving the landscape an untouched beauty. At night we fell asleep beneath a skylight, watching the snowflakes drift silently against the vast sky. But then, on the third night, something changed. Somewhere past midnight, I woke up. At first, I thought it was the storm. The snowfall had intensified into near blizzard conditions, but then I heard it. A sound, faint but distinct beneath the wind. Mechanical, man-made. Careful not to wake Christina. I crossed the room and peered out the window. That was when I saw it. A snowmobile. It glided slowly across the frozen lake, its headlights barely piercing the thick snowfall. People drove snowmobiles on frozen lakes all the time, but this was different. It was late, too late, and something about the way it moved, hesitant, cautious, unsettled me. Then it stopped. The driver climbed off and began waving frantically. I could not hear the words, but they were shouting, pleading, and they were facing the house. Did they know we were here? Christina stirred as I shook her awake, explaining what I had seen. I threw on my boots, telling her to stay inside, then stepped out onto the deck. The cold hit me instantly. That was when I realized the driver was a woman, and she was screaming, "Thank God someone is here." Her voice was raw with desperation. "Please, my little boy, he is lost in the storm." She sounded frantic, on the verge of hysteria. And suddenly there was no question in my mind. A child lost out here. He would not survive for long. I laced my boots tighter and stepped onto the ice, approaching her cautiously. As I got closer, I noticed the details. The thick fur coat, her tightly braided hair. The ice beneath us was solid, which was a relief. If the child was out here, at least he had not fallen through. But then something felt off. "He ran away from home," she said, breathlessly, eyes darting across the storm. That made me pause. I had expected her to say he had fallen off her snowmobile or gotten separated, but ran away in a blizzard. And then it clicked. "Do you still have those matches?" she asked, and she was smiling. A cold, creeping dread settled in my gut. The package, the note, it had not been from our host. Before I could react, she reached into her coat and pulled out a gun wallet phone. Now I barely had time to process it. My hands went up, and I did exactly what she asked. The whole interaction lasted seconds, then without another word, she climbed onto her snowmobile and disappeared into the whiteout. I turned and ran screaming for Christina to call the police. She was already on the phone when I reached the house, locking the doors behind me, my pulse hammering in my ears. An hour later, the police arrived, but by then the fresh snowfall had erased any trace of the woman's tracks. They found nothing, the only clue, an old boat ramp on the far side of the lake. Their best guess, she had come from there. But how had she known we would be here? Why go to such elaborate lengths leaving a package, planting the idea that she was just another local for a simple robbery? I could not shake the feeling that our Airbnb host had been involved. But I had no proof Airbnb refunded the trip, and the host denied knowing anything about the package. For months I could not shake the paranoia. The suspicion, I even wondered if my ex-wife had something to do with it, though I had no real reason to believe that. The only thing I knew for certain, some people do not just steal for money. Some people enjoy the game, and that woman had been playing long before we ever arrived.